ادع إلى سبيل ربك بالحكمة والموعظة الحسنة وجادلهم بالتي هي أحسن إن ربك هو أعلم بمن ضل عن سبيله.
He would tell me, he's like, look, ya Ibni, I'm too old. You can't benefit from me. You know? Go and study. There's an Indian sheikh, Indian scholar who teaches in the Haram. His name is Wasiullah Abbas. Go and benefit from him. So as soon as he said that, every time I would come to the Haram, I would give the sheikh a salam and kiss him on the head and drink a cup of tea and then go right to the lecture of Sheikh Wasiullah Abbas, Hafidhullah Ta'ala. So he kind of like, you know, set us on the straight path of who we should benefit from inside the Masjid al-Haram. So yeah, what was the question again? Read it to me again.
Oh, no,
I might have some more to add on. Did I get it?
Yeah, you got it.
Yeah, I got it. All right,
you hit the nail on the head.
Yeah, all right.
So basically, the first scholar you studied was Sheikh Wasiullah Abbas. What books did you memorize and study with the ulama at that time?
نزهة النظر, مصطلح حديث, أصول الثلاثة, قواعد أربعة, البيقونية, which is, you know, the primer for Mustalah Hadith. You know, many other matun as well. I don't want to, alhamdulillah, may Allah enable us to review them and get them stronger, inshallah, alhamdulillah. You know, the Quran, but I was really focused on the Quran, you know, the Quran, memorizing as much as I could of the Quran. Usul al-Thalatha was like, that was like mandatory. I had to memorize that. Yeah. And I had like probably a third of that memorized before I went. But then when I got the Arabic, before I went, and you know, some Arba'in al-Nawawiyya, you know, some of Umdat al-Ahkam, and a lot of Bulugh al-Maram, and so I mean, at that stage we were bachelors. You know, it was from 8 to 2:30 in the Mahad. You go home, eat your lunch at the Mat'am Jami'i. Then you take your qaylula for an hour or two. Asr, you're back at it. Before Asr, you're going out to catch a taxi to the Haram. From Asr to Isha, you're in the Haram. That's it. Asr to Maghrib, you do your review of your Quran, your Matun, things like that. Then from Maghrib to Isha, you're sitting in one of the scholars' classes. Then after Isha, maybe you do a little bit more review and you take the bus back or the taxi back to your dormitory. That's how it was prior to getting married. No, in time than not.
Did you ever get a chance to study with Sheikh Rabi' ibn Hadi?
Yes, I did. All of us, all the American brothers. That was our spot. After Jummah, you going? Everybody's there. You know, I mean, alhamdulillah, I mean, that was the spot to be. That was the spot to be for all the American Western brothers. You know, and it was, to some of us, it was like, you know, yeah, we came there to benefit and learn and study from the Sheikh. Allah preserve him. But it was also too, we get to see our brothers there that we haven't seen for a long time. So we get that camaraderie, you know, we get to congregate with the brothers and things like that. So yeah, I mean, you know, he was the student of Sheikh Muhammad al-Banna. So whenever I would, you know, that's what kind of, I'd ask Sheikh Muhammad al-Banna, who's this? He's like, oh, that's Sheikh Rabi' al-Madkhali. I was like, okay, what's he about? You know, what does he do? What does he teach? He's like, oh, he used to teach in University of Medina, and now he teaches in his house now and things like this. So we were like, all right. He's like, yeah, if you can't benefit from him, but go to Sheikh Wasiullah. Right, so he directed me to Sheikh Wasiullah. He's like, if you can benefit from Sheikh Rabi', go to him, go to his house, benefit, things like that. So that was, I think, all the American brothers and the brothers from the West would gather up there on Friday. No.
The reason why I asked, because, you know, it's explained to us like ain't no student from America ever sat with him, or it's like particular people. So that's why I just wanted to ask, being though y'all
all of us, Musa Richardson, Jamil Finch, Ali Davis, Saeed, Abu Isa, Farhan, Abdul Malik. I mean, basically all of us who were there. Saleh, I think, can't remember if Jabril Spite used to come or not. Ali Roach, maybe back in the day. Zahid was the one who actually put us on to Sheikh Rabi'. You know, because we were new, we didn't know anybody. I knew Sheikh Wasiullah, and it was like Zahid. He's like, come with us to the Dars, come with us to this lecture, come with us to this, because he was the one who had the connection with all the Mashayikh, the Mufti, you know, the Kibar al-Ulama. He would arrange. That was, I think, before it was QSS, and then after that it turned to Al-Basir. where he would bring students from the United States and benefit from the mashayikh and things like this. So, so alhamdulillah.
Who were the scholars that you benefited from in Mecca? Your teachers?
Many. From amongst them, Sheikh Abdullah Abbas. Well, I'll do it in sequential order. First scholar that I met was Sheikh Muhammad ibn Abdul Wahhab al-Banna, rahimahullah ta'ala. Sheikh Abdullah Abbas, tremendously. I studied with him from 2005 to about 2016. As soon as I entered my PhD, that's when I wasn't able to attend all his lectures, but I would still go visit him personally in his house. And he was the supervisor for my PhD thesis anyway. So we were on regular calls and talks and things like that as well. Sheikh Abdullah Abbas, Sheikh Muhammad Ali Adam, Ethiopia. He was my neighbor. Rahimahullah. So, benefited tremendously from him. Not only his knowledge and his books, but also his manners and etiquettes and his practical implementation of his knowledge of the Sunnah and knowledge of Fiqh and knowledge of Tafsir and everything. Seeing that, him pray 5 times a day in the same masjid that you're at. Seeing him implement the Sunnah of, laying down on your side after the 2 rakat of Fajr, waiting for the Iqamah of Fajr. Like when I first saw that, I was like, Sheikh, you all right? I went up to him. He's like, leave me. So he's like, yes, you don't know about the hadith of Aisha radiallahu anha, this hadith that when the Prophet Muhammad would pray his 2 sunnah of Fajr, then he would lay down a little bit on his right side, wait for the Iqamah. So like practical implementation of the sunnah, Sheikh Muhammad Ali Adam, subhanAllah. Rahimahullah. Sheikh Rabi' also. So these are the ones who were in Mecca, right? Sheikh Muhammad Bazmul, not as much as Sheikh Abdullah or Sheikh Muhammad Ali Adam, and all of the the professors and teachers at the Qura University as well. Many Sudani shuyukh as well. MashaAllah, those, to me, in my opinion, they were from the best of teachers, not only in the Ma'had, but also in the Kulliyah as well. MashaAllah, alhamdulillah. Taha Abidin, he's also from Sudan. He also taught in the master's degree program in Qura. We had some special sittings with him as well. Who else in Mecca? So then you have Sheikh Abdullah ibn Abdulaziz ibn Aqil, rahimahullah, who was from the big scholars of the Hanabila, right? Who was from the students of Sheikh Abdurrahman ibn Sa'di, rahimahullah ta'ala. And benefited from him. He would come down to Mecca on the white days. So he would come on the 13th, the 14th, the 15th. And he would have special gatherings in the Haram where students from all over would come. People would come from Kuwait, Qatar, Oman, everywhere just to sit with him during those 3 white days in the Haram and read books to him. Minhaj al-Salikin, Usul al-Sunnah of Imam Ahmed, Arba'in al-Nabawiyya, Bulugh al-Maram, Umdat al-Ahkam, Al-Umdat, Umdat al-Fiqh, Sharh al-Mumti'. So he was like the handball scholar of the time. So spent, I would say, 6 to 8 years studying with him whenever he would come down to Mecca during the white days. And then we had the beauty of being in Mecca is that Hajj. So you had all the mashayikh coming from everywhere, coming from Jordan, Sheikh Ali Hassan Halabi, rahimahullah, Sheikh Salim Hilali, Sheikh Mashhur Hassan Salman. We get to meet all of them. Sheikh Hussein Awaisha, scholars from Pakistan and India. Also Sheikh Irshad al-Haq al-Athari, met him many times during Hajj. Also Sheikh Ahmed Shaghif, who was also in Mecca. He did the tahqiq of Taqrib al-Tahdhib by Ibn Hajar al-Asqalani. Not too many students knew about him. Benefit from him, reading Taqrib al-Tahdhib with him, because he did the tahqiq of it, the referencing, and so he would know it. He gathered up all the manuscripts. Also, subhanallah. Those are the main ones. And then, Sheikh Fawzan, when he would come down, on the weekends occasionally, Sheikh Sa'ad al-Shathri, Sheikh Salih al-Haydan, Sheikh Abdulaziz al-Sheikh, many of the other kibar ulama that would come down from Riyadh. When we would take trips to Medina, Sheikh Abdul Muhsin Abbad, Sheikh Nasir Ali Faqihi, rahimahullah, he passed recently, right? May Allah have mercy upon him. Sheikh Abdullah al-Badr. So, we weren't in Medina, but whenever we would go to Medina, we would occasionally sit in those lectures and durus. Sheikh Salih Suhaimi, Sheikh Ibrahim al-Ruhaili, Sheikh Sulaiman al-Ruhaili. And many of those shuyukh we got introduced to through Brother Zahid, because he would invite them and host them through his conferences that he had with Al-Basira. Nah. May Allah bless him and bless the shuyukh.
Was there a difference between the students of Mecca and the students of Medina?
Excellent question. Ahlu Mecca adra bi shi'abiha, as they say. The people of Mecca know the roads and know the people of Mecca better than anybody else. So if you wanted to know anything about a student in Mecca, ask the students of Mecca. If you want to know anything about the students in Medina, ask the students of Medina. Right? This isn't from the sciences of hadith, right? When you study Aqran, you study people who were in the same place at the same time. They know the best of what Saeed was doing, what Faruq was doing, what this one was doing, what that one was doing, better than somebody who just knows the brother in America. I know who he used to sit with.
Yeah.
I know the posts he used to put on S-Pubs or Troy or Salafi Talk or this or that, right? We know what he used to say. We heard it with our ears, we saw it with our eyes, things like this. So I would say definitely, I think, not to take away from anything of our brothers in Medina, mashallah, they, alhamdulillah, very studious brothers, mashallah. They have, I think the brothers in Medina had a better environment to study in. It was more tranquil, more peaceful. If they stayed connected to the shuyukh and out of, a lot of the things that we used to hear, the hizbiyah that was going on, the partisanship and sectarianism amongst the brothers and things like that. But you see, look at what the University of Medina has produced, the likes of, Dr. Tahir Wyatt, the likes of, Muhammad Munir, Hadith disciple, many of the other brothers as well who come through here, frequent here, and have graduated. Shadid Muhammad, so many brothers in Medina. But I think, our vibe was, I don't think any of us really, except the select few, really got caught up into refutations and sectarianism and division. We were just trying to benefit as much we can. Memorize Matun, memorize Quran, get the lugha down, and come back and teach the people. And we were all, alhamdulillah, we were all pretty cordial and courteous with each other. Alhamdulillah, some of us had different inclinations towards different shuyukh. Some had more inclinations toward hadith and the madhab of Ahl hadith, such as myself, right? Others had, the inclinations towards studying the particular madhab and things like this. So there were certain shuyukh that would teach those sciences of particular madhabs, and certain shuyukh that would teach, the madhab of Ahl hadith, or extracting, the rulings from the hadith and things like that. So in the usul of Ahl hadith or the usul of the Hanabila. So, but I would say, there are, I would think, Allahu Alam, I haven't, my intermingling with a lot of the students of Medina while I was there was kind of limited. We did, occasionally meet, and Tahir was there at that time, Dr. Tahir, brother Salim, rahimahullah. Salim passed away. I love that brother, man. SubhanAllah. I only met him one time, but immediately, just SubhanAllah, he was a really good brother, man. So yeah, I really, I would say, I don't know, Allahu Alam, I would say, generally speaking, I think the brothers in Mecca, Allahu Alam, and the brothers from Medina, inshallah, Dr. Tahir and Muhammad Munir, you guys can, inshallah, rebut me. I'll accept it. Ala ayn wal ras, ya habibi. Alhamdulillah. But I think there was a higher level of maturity maybe amongst the majority of students in Mecca, that we weren't really getting involved in the qila wa qa wa kathrat as-su'al and things like this, I think it was really just focusing on benefiting as much as we could from the shuyukh and trying to, advise each other the best that we could. And, alhamdulillah. Yeah, I think we were like a big family.
That you was like very close with,
huh?
Friends. With brothers in Mecca you was very close with.
Oh, man. My man. Farhan Siddiqui, he was my man because he was, when I accepted Islam and I came to the Masjid, he was one of the first people I met before we went to study in the Masjid. So he put me on
Oh, he was
Quran.
from your
He
city.
put me on to. He lived in Glastonbury, but we would all come to the same masjid in Windsor, Connecticut. So it was him and a couple other brothers, and we would always hang out. I was a little older than them, a couple of years, you know, but they were, mashallah, they had a big, I think, role in keeping me connected to the masjid, not going back to that lifestyle, and that will always remain in his scale of good deeds. So Farhan Siddiqui, he's currently in Virginia. He lives, he's the imam, one of the imams, I think, at Dar al-Hijrah down there. May Allah bless him, bless his family. Alhamdulillah. So him and Muhammad Sulaiman. Muhammad Sulaiman, he was also another brother who I met when I just had come home. He graduated from the Islamic University of Medina, from Kulit Sharia. I think Sajid, you probably met him, I think once or twice. Abu Musa. He's in Connecticut now. He was imam, principal of some Islamic schools there for some time. But very good brother, mashallah. I love him too. May Allah bless him and grant him goodness, alhamdulillah. So those two brothers, yeah.
All right, I have another question, Sheikh. So which class and subject in Islam that was the most difficult? And why?
What subject was the most difficult? What was the book we studied in the Hanbali Fiqh? Road and Morba. Yeah. I did not care for that book too much at all. Because my inclinations were more towards the fiqh of al-hadith. Give me the hadith. What do the scholars say about the hadith? I don't want to study if you do this, then it's that. If he says this, then it's that. And that was too. Alhamdulillah, Ali and brother Saeed, mashallah. I mean, that was their thing. That was their thing. But I loved fiqh. That was the thing. I just didn't like studying it on the tariqah of the madhab. I wanted to study it on the tariqah of al-hadith.
What was your favorite class?
What was my favorite class?
Subject, yeah.
In the university or in general? So
both.
One of my favorite classes was Sheikh Wasil Abbas, his class that he used to teach in the Haram, Fath al-Bari, explanation of Sahih Bukhari, and then also Sheikh Muhammad Ali Adam as well, his explanation of Sahih Muslim, and also his explanation of Bukhari, his explanation of Nasa'i, which I think Muslim and Nasa'i are published and printed now. But that was like two different scholars, two different scholarships. Like you see Sheikh Wasilullah, Hafidhullah, the way that he teaches, Sheikh Wasilullah can dive into the hadith and extract the hidden defects from the matan or from the sanad. Sheikh Muhammad Ali Adam, he memorized all the narrators of the 6 books of hadith. So he's given from memory. He's the student, he's reading the hadith, the sanad, and Sheikh Muhammad, he's given the brief biography about him from his head. That's how strong Sheikh Muhammad Ali Adam, rahimahullah, his memorization. So man, when he was coming down for Umrah one time, and we had a couple questions. I had a couple questions on paper. He had a couple questions on paper related to fiqh. My neighbor, his thing was fiqh. MashaAllah, from Algeria. Bilal. He's still in Medina today. So we met Sheikh Mashhur Hassan Salman in the area which is now taken down in the Haram. I can't remember the name of it now. Shimaliya maybe it was, right? And we met Sheikh Mashhur. I know he was staying in this small little hotel. He had like 10 books with him. Entered, Assalamu alaikum, alaikum salam. How are you, Sheikh? Jazakallah khair, mashallah. His hosting and his, welcoming us was like, something that we could never explain with words. The love and affection that he showed towards students of knowledge. So my neighbor asked him a question. He's like, Sheikh, I want to ask you a question about this particular issue in fiqh. So from the strength of the Sheikh's hifz, and he mentioned about himself, I think he reads like 12 to 16 hours a day. So he answered the question. He says, yes, this mas'ala, Shaykh al-Islam Ibn Taymiyyah mentioned it in Majmu' Fatawa, volume this, page number this, under the chapter of this one. When he said that, I was like, oh, junk. I got to get on my game and start reading. So that's the benefit of reading and being in the books so much, is that you recall things like this. You know, how many hafadh here, you ask them, you know, hey, where's this verse? They say it's on page number 500, the top corner, left hand side, or it's from the middle of the page on this one. From kathrat al-maraja'a, kathrat al-reading. So, yeah, subhanAllah, Sheikh Mashhur is, I can compare him like in memorization and hifz to like Sheikh Muhammad Ali Adam, Ethiopia now.
After seeking knowledge, what was the most important thing that you took away from this whole life experience studying abroad?
Say that again?
After studying knowledge, what was the most important thing that you took away from this?
SubhanAllah. After studying, what is the most important thing you take away? Is that Allah Azza wa Jal can make the seemingly impossible possible for anyone. And that man jadda wajada wa man zara'a hasada. That the one who treads upon a path to acquire and attain anything that they set their mind to do, they'll be able to do it with the success and tawfiq of Allah Azza wa Jal. And also taking the asbab, taking the proper means to facilitate that for you. Being obedient to Allah Azza wa Jal. And of course, living in Mecca, you're in the most holy city, where it's different than any other place. And Allah has no comparison or no similarity. Just like if we're here in the masjid or out in the street, and you walk into the courthouse, there's certain manners and etiquettes and things you can do in the courthouse and things you can't do in the courthouse. Yeah. So what about the judge of judges and the king of kings? When you go into his city, when you go into his house. So living in Mecca, it taught us to have a higher level of consciousness of what we do, what we say, what we don't do, what we don't say, staying away from the haram, and even thoughts. Because living in Mecca, as Allah Azza wa Jalla, He tells us in the Quran that whoever thinks about doing something bad in the haram boundaries, then they will taste a punishment. But anywhere else in the world, you think about doing something bad and you don't do it, you're getting a reward for it. But Mecca, even if you think about doing something bad, and even if you don't do it, you're still being held accountable for it. So that was the sacredness of Mecca. And taking that sacredness outside of Mecca and carrying it in our hearts and in our minds and in our bodies and in our actions and in our worship and in our knowledge, bringing it back here, I think that, you know, there is some remnants of that barakah of that holy city and those great scholars and that great opportunity that we had to benefit from being in Mecca for all those years. You know, we always ask Allah Azza wa Jalla to not take away from us the opportunities to share some of the blessings that He has bestowed upon us. Being here, it's a responsibility. Being here is a ni'mah from Allah Azza wa Jalla. There could be 10 other people. There's hundreds and thousands of other people who are more qualified than me. A piece of paper that says PhD on it. But I realized when I got my PhD, that's when my journey to seek knowledge started. 15 years studying, right? Arabic Language Institute, 4 years of the Kuliya, 4 years of Masters, 4 years of PhD. Now I realized how to research a mas'ala. Now I researched, okay, well, there's ikhtilaf in the issue. Don't be so quick in giving fatwa. The one who doesn't know the ikhtilaf of the scholars of the, you know, of the opinions in the madhahib shouldn't be giving fatwa. Because now you're doing dhulm. The fatwa that person deserves and is suitable based on the Quran and Sunnah, you may be giving him a fatwa and he might not be able to practice that fatwa. What is his level? Where is he at? So, you know, and just those good memories, and I'll say, like, you know, that was the best time in my life. You know, 47 now. Those were the best years of my life. And they always say, you know, when you're in school, when you're studying, you're like, oh, we got an exam. Oh, we got to study. Oh, we got to review. We don't sleep for 3 or 4 days straight. We got exams after exams. Like, they used to pack on. You think you guys here in the colleges, would you take 4 classes a semester, 3 classes, and you guys are like, oh, it's too much, it's a heavy load, it's a heavy work. Man, we had 8 classes. in a semester. 7 classes in a semester, 9 classes in a semester. Imagine doing that. And the whole mode, the whole way of studying over there is different. Here, what did you understand from this chapter? Over there, bring the nas, bring the text. What did you memorize? So you're gonna, the night before the exam, you're memorizing a 250-page book. You're starting like a month. My memory was like, I had that like, how would you say, that long-term powerful memory. Like I had to start a month ahead of the exam to get it down. Other brothers, mashallah, 3 days, 4 days before the exam, they got it down, right? So I had to memorize and repeat it and repeat it and repeat it. It was probably from, smoking that weed before Islam, the Jahiliyyah, that messed up my memory, but alhamdulillah, I had a little bit of it left, alhamdulillah. So I mean, just so many benefits, subhanAllah, and learning from the manners of the scholars, alhamdulillah, being able to finish my PhD and focus on that level of studies, that was a great accomplishment for me, and I couldn't have done it except, with Allah Azza wa Jall's aid first. Secondly, having good brothers around me who were encouraging to me. Thirdly, my wife, my family being patient with me, living that miskeen lifestyle as a student of knowledge, 5 kids, now I have 6 kids, trying to make ends meet. You get a 800 riyal a month stipend, and you got to feed 6 heads, 5 heads, or at that time it was 4 heads, right? And just living that lifestyle. I mean, women aren't accustomed to that. They want to be comfortable. They want to go out on the Fridays. I can't, baby. I gotta go to the dars and haram. Right? But alhamdulillah, I mean, Allah granted me, mashallah, alhamdulillah, a wonderful spouse, a wonderful family. My wife, she also studied as well. She got her master's degree from Muqarrar. So we were like on the same thing. So she was like, review, I review, you review. So she was, going to the classes as well. So we would go to the haram and benefit. This guy, he got lost one day. My son, Abdurrahman, he got lost in the haram. And when somebody gets lost in the haram, man, you panic. Because the stuff you would see, they would have little kids with their arms cut off. Kidnap the kids and put them, unfortunately, I mean, this is reality, put them outside the haram and they beg for money. And when Abdurrahman got lost, I was going to the lecture of Sheikh Abdullah, went to drink some Zamzam, turned around, gone. Man. Wasn't able to go to the dars that night. Went to the Kaaba, made tawaf, making dua. Stayed from, I think it was Maghrib until like 3 a.m. Just gave up. Went to the Lost and Found office in Sharikat Mecca, Hilton, right there. I says, look, I lost my son. What's he look like? I said, he looks like all the rest of the little Arab kids here with a thobe and brown eyes and brown hair. What's his name? I said, Abdurrahman. So I went home. I said, khalas, I put my trust in Allah. I took the asbab. I went to Gaza, all the way over there, walked all around Haram. Like, subhanAllah, asking the shorty, hey, where is he? And then, subhanAllah, was like, went home, prayed. And then right before Fajr, I got a call. Hey, we found your son. Come and pick him up, like that. So, I mean, a lot of memorable experiences there.